Son, what are you so mad at?
That's the question that sparked our whole conversation today. And if you're a man, Gen Z, Millennial, or older, it's a question you've probably never been asked. That clip is from Seabiscuit. Charles Howard could see Red's reaction didn't match what actually happened because Red wasn't angry about the horse race. He was carrying pain from being abandoned as a kid. Today, I'm sitting down with two Gen Z guys, Garrett and AJ, to talk honestly about anger, hopelessness, God, blame, pain, and what we're actually feeling underneath all of it. So let's just jump right in right there. And when was a time anger showed up bigger than the situation called for? In other words, you overreacted like Red. You might have been fouled, but your reaction was way over the top. Garrett, you want to take a stab at this?
Yeah, for me, that happens a lot when I'm driving. You know? Especially like when
Perfect.
someone is just being crazy, being a jerk, and like I'm the one that's driving like a sane person, like I don't want to kill anybody today, and I slow them down a little bit, and then they pull up next to me and flip me off. So stuff like that. I mean, I'm definitely like Red in the car. I'm going like, he flipped me off. Like, I can't believe this guy. I'm the good driver here. He's the one messing up. Like I'm like ready to pull over with this guy and throw some hands or something.
Well, I was going to use the a driving one too, but because I might be the aggressor in this situation most times.
It's you.
It may have been me that flicked you off, but when I come to a complete stop on a highway because of traffic, there's nothing more infuriating to me. I'll throw out every curse word. I start like banging on my steering wheel. And so if I'm going to use a non-driving one, it's just like if I play basketball and I don't play well, I get really, really pissed off at myself, and I just beat myself up the whole way home. And I'm like a amateur now. I just play at LA Fitness, so it's not a big deal, but it feels like a big deal.
Yeah, those are great. Now my mind is like back to traffic. I like get, I think I can say this, but I to control my anger, I've now come up with a word to describe every driver out there. And I just say bitch.
Yeah.
You bitch. And somehow that sort of helps me out because I'm not banging on the steering wheel, but I'm like, everyone's stupid. No one knows how to drive, they're better in Italy than they are here, all this kind of stuff. But there was this one time where I wasn't driving crazy and I wasn't in a hurry, but there's all this construction and I was trying to get to my exit and, and I pulled over and I got over and some guy's honking at me and he's having an angry thing. And actually, I'm pretty sure because I pulled off the exit into a parking lot and parked. It was a store I was going into. And I'm pretty sure it was that guy that found my truck and keyed it. I didn't, it was, I've driven way worse than that, So looking back, what do you think was going on underneath the surface of your anger? AJ, you want to go for that?
I don't quite know the answer for the traffic one. I mean, I think there's some like controlled thing going on there, but I don't necessarily know the emotions underlying. But for basketball, I think there's definitely a sadness, a disappointment, a feeling of inadequacy that's there, where it's like, dang, I'm playing at this LA Fitness 4-on-4 because we can't even get a full 10 guys, and I'm playing like trash. When I was a kid, I wanted to be in the NBA. And this is where I'm at basketball skill-wise. It's just like disappointment.
Yeah, huge disappointment. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, for me, with the driving, I think it's honestly just I'm a better driver than anyone else, and I was kidding. I don't like to be blamed for something like that. If I'm blamed for something like that, always triggers anger in me. So, if someone comes up and honks at me, like saying like I'm not doing something right or flips me off, like I'm the one that isn't a good driver or something like that, I take that like as an accusation toward me, and I feel really exposed, I guess. Like I feel like I just don't like how I feel at all, and the anger comes flooding out from that.
Yeah, that's really good because for me, years ago, a therapist gave me this feeling sheet, and there's a link in the description if you'd like one. And the first thing that hit me when I saw it was anger's only one column. And so I'm like, what's underneath we'll just go with the angry driving. And I mean, I'm resentful, I'm irritated, I'm hostile, I'm annoyed. I mean, it's on and on and on and on. It's like, wow, there's a lot of crap going underneath my anger. But we're going to get more into the sheet in a little bit. But let's jump into the generation, because I think Gen Z is under lots of pressure. And I don't think the other generations really get it completely, or maybe at all. And I'd love for you to talk about, what do you guys think your generation's anger is really about?
Yeah, you want to take that one, AJ? I'll piggyback off you.
Yeah, I think it really stems from just like, I don't know, it's this mixture of like hopelessness and just kind of like, I mean, maybe a little bit like Garrett, like when you say you're like driving, you're doing, you're maybe 5 above the speed limit, you're driving nice and safe, and then somebody who's trying to go 25 above the speed limit flicks you off. Right. It kind of feels like it feels like unfair, right? And I think there's a lack of like, it just feels like there's been an injustice committed against our generation by the previous generations. And there's just like this deep anger about that. And it turns into like a vengefulness, if you will.
Yeah. I think that's really true, man. I like the word you used there, like injustice. That's definitely how I feel like in those situations that trigger a lot of anger for me. But I think just kind of like all the time, it's pretty easy to feel like a sense of injustice. Like I want the world to fix itself. I want the world to get better. I want injustices to be exposed. And be brought to justice, and it's easy to just kind of slip into just an anger over that feeling of the injustices.
Yeah, that's why we created the term social justice warrior. Like we're fighting for justice, and we're trying to make the world enact that justice, because the world is what hurt us. The world is what stacked against us. And so we try to war against the world to bring some form of social justice.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's the world has hurt us. Right. So I think it's pretty easy to go into like an anger at the world until some kind of justice happens there. And then we feel like, we won't be angry if those injustices were brought to justice and the world changed around us to fit our needs. Right.
Yeah. And what's fascinating about that is the world never fixes itself.
Yeah.
And watching things play out, and it's like there's this weird thing going on in our world today, because never before in the history of mankind have we had the kind of tools and knowledge and luxuries. And I mean, I can literally go on a app and have it delivered to my front door in minutes. It's insane. So, but we're the unhappiest or angriest, the younger generations more than the older generations, I think. But it's like, what's going on here, And this is kind of a premise we're going on, is that the anger is really masking or protecting us from feelings that are really going on and stuff we don't really want to face. But what I'd like to know is, do you guys have any thoughts on why do men default to anger instead of some other feeling? Why is it anger? And I've done this all my life. I mean, I don't think this is a generational thing. I think this is a man thing.
Yeah, I thought about this myself, and the answer I've come to, and kind of in thinking through it, is like, anger to me is a very activating emotion. Like when I feel angry, I feel like I can go do something about what's making me angry. It's
let me interrupt you. So you feel powerful?
Yeah, the anger is what creates like a sense of courage to be powerful, to do something, to take action, to make the change. Mm-hmm. Whereas, if I go into those emotions below anger, disappointment, inadequacy, they feel like shutting me down. It's like, what just feel like you just want to cry in a chair and sit around and do nothing. But anger gives you motivation to go fix what's ever making you feel inadequate or disappointed.
So it's the opposite of passive, but it's kind of violent. I mean, I don't mean you get violent, but it's not healthy, powerful.
Yeah,
right?
Instead of shutting down, I'm going to lash out.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
What do you think, Garrett?
Yeah. I definitely agree with that, AJ. And I was thinking it keeps things kind of external, right? Like it keeps your energy and attention focused on these external things that are triggering your anger rather than anything internal, which to me, it feels a lot safer and less exposing to focus on external things than it is to flip it around and look internally. And like you said, man, I mean, I totally agree. Like anger feels activating and it feels powerful. Like sometimes, it takes me getting pretty angry to go and address something that needs to be addressed. But I always kind of like when I let it get to that point where the only reason I'm doing this is because I'm so angry about it. I always kind of like, I did it, but I didn't handle that as well as I could have. And I want to learn to do better the next time.
Oh, so you guys aren't going to know about this probably, but decades ago, probably turn of last century, was a cartoon called Popeye. And there was this bully that would beat him up and then would take his girlfriend olive oil, and he's a sailor. And so he would say, what I can't stands no more. I never thought about it in the context of, he's getting angry.
Yeah.
He'd also eat spinach and get big muscles, and then he'd go beat Brutus up. But gosh. All right. So now this is really I'm specifically like Gen Z question here, but does it feel like for you guys and guys, in your generation, like the future is stacked against you?
Yeah.
I would say 100% yes. When you to me, it just feels like, and that's where I was talking about, like this injustice was committed against us, where it's like, I don't know when I'm going to be able to afford to own a home. And that's really frustrating. You look at the average age and it's like 40 years old now. I got 2 more decades until I'm going to be able to own property. When boomers, they were able to buy property right around my age, right before 30, turning into 30. And that just is deeply, deeply frustrating. And then there's this whole, especially like being on the internet, it creates more anger, where you can see a lot of boomers who will bash Gen Z or the millennials and call us lazy and say that we don't work for earn what we're getting. And to me, I'm like, well, y'all got to benefit from the post World War II boom when America became a global superpower and our economy grew at a rate never before seen. And so you got to take advantage of all of the growth and have basically crafted every law to make sure that you can hoard as much of that growth and not pass it on to the next generation. So yeah, it does feel like the past is what's holding us back, and the future isn't really a bright place.
And that's not even including the $36 trillion of debt.
Oh, yeah. Not to mention that in my lifetime, the debt's gone up $28 trillion or $30 trillion, whatever it is.
Yeah. That's for our U.S. listeners. I don't know about the rest of you, the rest of you guys in the world, but Garrett, what would you say about the future stacked against you and your generational perspective?
I think it's hard not to feel that way. I try to kind of shake that off a lot of times.
Mhm.
I don't really want to live there. I'm careful not to kind of like make a whole lot of agreements with that and just make that my reality, but it's really hard not to feel that way. And especially like what you were saying, HH, just with the housing thing, man. It's like I want to be able to own a good home for my family. And when you can't do that, when you're given it everything you have and you can't do something like that, man, it's like good thing for this feeling sheet because it's like you start to feel inadequate. You start to feel almost everything going down that inadequate column right there. And at least for me, like I said, it's easier to go to anger and put the problems on the outside things and just direct my energy and focus at external things than it is to see what's really going on inside of me with those feelings of inadequacy.
Oh, okay, so this is really interesting because the anger allows you to get outwardly focused, like, okay, those people need to go fix that,
Yes.
and that will help me not be angry.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to bring this into the mix. Social media.
Yeah.
Because your generation and my generation and every generation's doom scrolling all the time, right?
Yeah.
And we're seeing perfect lives. And now that we have AI creations, and it's even more perfect. And perfect bodies, perfect houses, perfect families, perfect whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
How does that affect what we're talking about? The anger, future stacked against you, and maybe even feeling overwhelmed.
For me, it's like just drinking from a fire hose of just gasoline that is just being dumped right onto this fire of anger. I mean, but at the same time, it's addicting, right? It's really hard to go a day without picking up my phone, getting on Instagram, something, and just scrolling.
Yeah.
And I watch like one video about like a political debate or a cultural thing, and I'm all fired up. But I prefer to go on there for like funny content and stuff. But I feel like you watch one video like that, and these algorithms know like that will keep you engaged. Like if I can piss you off with the content that I'm putting in front of you, that'll keep you on this platform. So then you watch one video, right, and then your whole feed is just all that kind of stuff, and man, it just sucks you in. And like I said, to me, it's like gas on the fire.
Yeah.
I was going to use that exact analogy. It's just like pouring lighter fluid on it. And I'm actually off of all social media except for YouTube at this point because I caught myself realizing, as I'm scrolling Instagram, that algorithm really knew me. Like I'm a fairly I'm a conspiratorial minded person. And when the algorithm caught on to that, it's sending me all over the place and I can't verify, post after post after post. And I was just like, I gotta get out of here. And just kind of like a real life example is like with the food system. Like I stumbled on how like just deeply disgusting and poisonous the food system is. And I kind of had two choices at that point. I could get really mad and try to create like petitions and stuff and social media presence to get these companies to, use cleaner products in their restaurants.
Right.
Or I could have learned to cook myself and use clean ingredients, learn what the grocery store labels actually mean, and just buy based off of that and cook at home. And that's what I ended up doing. And that actually brought about way more. It felt like a daunting project at first, but it actually brought about way more peace than the anger I was feeling trying to, oh man, if I could just get Chipotle to change the oils they use, then I'll be happy. But it's like, no, I'll just learn how to make good burritos myself.
I can totally relate to what y'all are saying because in a different way, I've now literally cut off news, and these are good reporters. They've all got a bias, right? But I think it's all engineered to piss you off. Mm-hmm. And I decided, so we're recording this and we're about to head to the college football playoffs and all this kind of stuff. I decided I'm going to just focus on all the controversy with the college football playoffs, because I'm not going to get angry about that because I kind of don't even care, but it's kind of fun to watch everyone else get angry. So that's how I'm dealing with it. But I got a problem. It's all going to be over in a few weeks. And then what am I going to get angry at? This actually leads us to a deeper point. So we're talking about getting angry at externals or big corporations or big government or big whatever. But what about God? And yes, we go there in our Trek for the Common Man and with our Trek talks. We bring God into this because this is essential. And this isn't about getting preachy or theology or Bible verses or whatever, but it's like, realistically, have you ever blamed God when something went wrong? Garrett, you want to?
Yeah. Well, the answer is yes.
Would you like to go a little further than that?
No, AJ, go ahead. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think for me, it's hard, when things happen and there's hurt, I go to anger. It's hard to think about God in those moments for me, because somehow kind of this idea of, God just being not willing or too lazy, like he could have interfered. He could have waved his finger and things would have been different. And he didn't. It wasn't a good time for him, or you start questioning the heart of God. It's like, well, what kind of God would allow that? I thought he was good. Like things like that. It's pretty tough to not go there, and getting sucked into that is when I end up blaming God or being angry with God over things that happen. And of course, it's bad teaching, that's bad theology, but it's for me at least kind of easy in hard times when I'm angry to not start thinking that way and then be angry at God.
Would you say blaming God and being angry at God are basically the same thing, or end up in the same place?
Yeah. It ends up in the same place. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. AJ, what do you think? Or have you ever blamed God?
Definitely. And yes, it's 100% from a place of anger. And it's it's kind of like a projection of, when you get angry at the world and kind of all these external things we've been talking about, you go, okay, well, who's the creator of this whole thing? Okay, I'm going to blame you. I'm going to talk to the manager, right?
Talk to the manager.
I'm going over the Chipotle manager's head to God.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm done with Uncle Sam. I want to talk to you, God. Like, what is going on down here? Or even just or even personally, when like repeated patterns of sin, where it's like, God, I want to repent. I don't want to do this anymore, and I'm praying to you, asking to take this away, asking to help me break this cycle, but I keep falling into it, and it's like, that anger is really directed at me for disobedience, for not embracing the Spirit, for not submitting in a lot of cases. But then I just blame him, go, oh, why didn't you make me, surrender easier? Or why did you make me so rebellious?
Yeah.
And it's not even him who made me rebellious.
Yeah, I had a surprising, one of the most significant blame God, get angry at God moments I was completely unaware of. And it was a really dark time in my life. And I was at this men's event, and I think we were all praying, or there was something like that going on. And this one man, older gentleman, and you could tell, just a very wise, kind, gentle, discerning person, looked me straight in the eye And he didn't know me from anybody. I'd never met the guy. And he looked me straight in the eye and he said, "You're angry at God." And I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm not angry at God." And he goes, "Well, that's what I'm hearing." And I hearing from who? How do you know this? I mean, what's going on here? And it threw me into about a 24, 36 hour spin. And I was like, because I was in such a dark place. It was like, if I don't have God, I'm screwed because there's nobody else in my life right now. And if he's gone, if I'm pissed off at him, I am absolutely completely alone. And at the end of this whole wrestling thing out, I figured out I was really, really angry at God for what was happening to me.
Yeah.
But what I learned was God was really, he could handle my anger at him. It was like, yeah, I can. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's okay. You can be angry at me. I got it. I can handle it. If you are angry at me, I can't handle it.
Yeah.
I'll come at you with both barrels blazing, but he goes, "I'm good." I go, "Okay, well, you're God." So anyhow, it took breakthrough. And what I'm wondering for you guys, you're kind of alluding to this. So let's go there. What are times, or has there been a time where God just felt really silent or absent, especially when you needed some kind of direction? You're at your end of your rope. You need him to come through. And it's just like crickets, cricket, 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 cricket.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, like a lot of that time, I'm projecting the anger I have at myself to God, or the anger at the world to God. And the only reason I'm like, I even am aware of that projection is because of those times where he felt silent or he felt absent to me, because it almost feels like to me, like when I'm throwing those blames up, throwing that anger up, in my walk, it's literally like, feels like he's holding a mirror back at me. So like I'm looking up to him, but he's just, like you said, George, he's like, "Oh yeah, I can handle your anger. Just look where it's supposed to be directed. It's inside of you is where this is coming from, is where you're upset. It's not with me. I mean, you're sending it up to me, but it's really not with me. It's look inside, buddy." It's kind of the what I've received.
Yeah. For me, a time where God felt really silent. I have a younger brother, he's a few years younger than me, and he has autism and some other disabilities. And when I was about 18 and I was moving out of the house, he started really degrading and going downhill. Like he lost ability to speak pretty much totally. He kind of lost ability to move very well. He just wasn't moving very well at all. And growing up with him, like, we would hang out, play games, ride bikes, like, I had a really good relationship with my little brother. And I mean, to see him just kind of disappear, like it felt like he had died, like I lost him. But it was pretty tormenting because he was still there. And I kind of felt really powerless and just watching him decline and degrade. And that was a time where I was like, "God, what the heck is going on here? What is this? How can you be a good God and this is happening?" And that was a time that just, God felt really distant, really silent. Looking back at it now, it's definitely, there was a lot of feelings from this feeling sheet that you presented to us, George, going on with me. Then I was just seeing the anger and I was just directing the anger at God because I didn't know what to do. I mean, I directed it at the doctors. You can only yell at the doctor so much. I mean, like, it doesn't change the situation or what's happening to him. Then it eventually just ends up at God. Right?
Yeah, and let's talk about the feeling sheet, because as you're describing that, I can just hear you talking about the anger, and now you start peeling it back, and you start looking, and you go, "Wait a minute, there's there's other stuff. Yeah, like I said, I was shocked when I first got this sheet to read it, because the way it works, guys, is across the top are these feelings, okay, like a category. So like significant, happy, caring, hurt, angry, those lonely. So there's those kind, and then so what he showed me to do was he goes, okay, like you're angry, okay, now just go down the anger column and what are all of the feelings that you relate to? What are the feelings you're feeling? And I had no idea there were so many feelings. And you can see, and I gave you guys, so it's in the, so I've linked this in the description if you'd like a copy, but you'll be able to see where I hand wrote in a couple of feelings and you can go write in a lot more feelings. There's a lot more feelings than just this, but for me, this was overwhelming. And by the way, that's on this list. The way I figured that out was I found it on the list. Hey, look, I'm feeling overwhelming from this list, Yeah. So anyhow, let's go into this just a minute, because one of the things that I think it does help is as we get underneath the anger, it's just clarifying to realize, oh, I'm irritated. That's what's going on. And I'm like, that's so much clearer than just saying I'm angry. No, I'm really irritated by your driving. Now, I don't pull my feeling sheet out while I'm driving, okay? Just FYI. But were I to do that, so guys, when you look at this sheet, what's a column or a word on the sheet that surprised you when you looked at it?
I was surprised by how long the angry list is. I mean, I'm usually like, I'm angry, I'm just angry. Whatever it is, like I'm just angry. I'm angry about the future. I'm angry at politics and culture, and I'm angry from watching these videos, and I'm angry when a guy flipped me off when I was driving, and he was the asshole, not me. And so I just say angry. And I look at angry, and I have to scroll. I have this on a big monitor. I have to scroll to see the rest of the angry list.
It's the longest column. It's the longest column.
Yeah, so that was surprising to me. I'm just angry. What else is there? I mean, all of that.
What about you, AJ?
Yeah, the column I found myself looking at the most. I started off at angry because, I was like, let's understand that one. I'm a man, so one comes up a lot, right? So, but then I find myself just staring at the inadequate list. Like on angry, what stands out the most is antagonistic. I feel like that a lot, but really, the inadequate list is seemingly like what's underneath all of it. And like the words that are coming up are like defeated, incompetent, unimportant, weak. And like it's kind of like a live counseling session, to be honest, as I'm looking at this list, where it's like, yeah, when I'm leaving basketball and I'm angry about how I played, I'm feeling defeated, but it's, and when that anger strikes about, injustices of the world or myself, it's like, I feel weak as a man. And so the anger is like, hey, buddy, I got you, man. We're powerful. We're strong. We can go antagonize these people. We can go enact the justice you want to see. It's like the anger seems to be like what's picking me up out of the feelings of inadequacy and trying to avoid those feelings of inadequacy.
Well, yeah, this isn't supposed to feel like a counseling session, but I did say I got this from a therapist. And hey guys, so this is free. I probably spent $10,000 for this list. So yeah, it's my gift to you. So yeah, I was shocked about how short the happy column is. First of all, there's only one column for happy, and it's like one of the shortest columns. And I'm like, that's it? That's all we get? So there's four primary feelings that kind of like their four primary colors. And so it's happy, sad, mad, and afraid, or glad and happy are the same. So glad, mad, sad, and afraid. So that kind of starts you off. And so then, well, I'm mad, and son, what are you so mad at? And, then you discover that's the longest column. And glad is the shortest column. So anyhow, well, we got to get to solution here. One of the things I wanted to ask you guys is about, we live in an artificial world. And what I mean by that is it's all climate controlled. We rarely get outside. And if we go outside, it's to get in our car, which is another climate controlled box we drive around in and get angry at people. And well, at least the three of us do. And so, but seriously though, we live in this artificial world, and then we're having we're in 3 different locations in the United States right now, and we're having this conversation. It's real, but it isn't the same if the 3 of us were together. Mm-hmm. And it's really hard to say goodbye at the end of a Zoom call, for example, because you can't walk them out to the car or to the door or whatever. And so what I'm wondering is, how does this artificial world make it harder to feel anything except anger?
Wow. Yeah. For me, it's the noise. It's just the constant noise of everything. And I just the constant stimulation too, just constantly being fed these things. I mean, so much work happens like digitally, like you're saying, George, we're having this conversation digitally, and that's where it's just a lot of the noise is, right? And actually something I noticed, I was able to just kind of get up with my bike into the foothills, mountains a little bit, and something I noticed was just how quiet it was. I went a little bit further than I normally do. Just kind of like I went over a hill, so I couldn't see the city anymore, and I felt like I could feel the stillness and the quietness just untangling crap, just slipping underneath the anger a little bit and just going a little deeper and just settling down and unwinding and untangling. It felt really healing. I actually just sat there for a while. Didn't even want to ride the bike anymore, which is weird for me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Kind of back to what I was talking about earlier about why I deleted social media. Is it felt like I was turning to the algorithm. I was turning to Instagram to tell me what to care about, to tell me what's going on in the world, to tell me and obviously Instagram, it's only going to tell me what to be angry about. Right. Mm-hmm. And I kind of caught myself, and I was just like, imagine if I turned to God as much as I turned to Instagram to understand the world that I'm living in. And since deleting Instagram and turning to God more, there's been a great peace that has set in. And I just think about kind of Garrett, as you're talking about getting outside, after I lost my job this year, I went on a solitude retreat out into the hill country of Texas. I used to call it Western Texas, but since was corrected
by me.
And it just felt so peaceful. Like I was, in a time where nothing made sense. I didn't know where my next check was going to come from. I didn't know what God wanted from me. But just getting out there, it really just set in just a simpleness of mind, where it's just kind of like the concept. I didn't get this for a couple months after, but it was just the concept of taking up your daily bread, being present, living in the moment. What really set in, I was watching these little, I don't know if they're tadpoles or water bugs, but they just kind of zoom around the water, just move their legs once and zip around. I was like, these guys probably don't think about, what they're going to eat tomorrow or in a week. They just zip around the pond and enjoy their day.
I don't think they have legs. I think it's little tails.
whatever they are.
Yeah, I think and I'll link it in the description. I did a short on this as well, and I'm walking in the green space, and I could hear the city is just right over my head, literally. But even that there's something that begins to settle in you when you step out of your house or your apartment, your dorm room, and you kind of just get outside. You could go sit literally on the balcony. You could go sit in the yard. This doesn't have to be I've got to go to the hill country of Texas, although that's awesome. But we crave this. Our souls crave this. And so I think that's what we're talking about, because what you're trying to do here is just let things settle a little bit. And then you go, what's underneath the anger? And if you have one of these little feeling sheets, you pull that out, you might get a little clue. And so, guys, for the men who are listening to this and they're feeling angry, what would be something you would want them to know?
I'm glad you're feeling angry because that means we're tugging on something. And if you're
a pulse,
yeah, exactly. That means you're alive. That means there is something, and like we've been discussing, there's something underneath that anger. And all I would suggest is just lean into that. Accept that your anger is kind of a mask for your other emotions, and lean into understanding those other emotions. It's going to be really uncomfortable at first. When I've kind of leaned into this and leaned into sadness, I cried basically every day in October, because I said, I'm every time I felt angry, I was like, okay, what's underneath this? And I literally just sat and reflected on it. And, deeply uncomfortable at first, but, after a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks of, really leaning on it and processing it, I've experienced a lot more peace, a lot more joy, more faithfulness because of it, because now I don't have as much anger to throw up to God. And so it's the process of actually just leaning in to your anger and saying, okay, I know this is coming from a place that isn't just anger, and trying to go on that self-discovery. It's well worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for me, I agree with everything AJ said. And, for me, I want to address my angry reactions. I don't want to take it out on my wife, kids in the future. We have some foster kids right now. I don't want to take it out on them. I don't want to react with anger. And I would try to do behavior modification, right? Just change the way that I react to things, and learned, this to actually, like AJ is saying, to, just become aware of the anger, but then go underneath that. What is under the anger? Because for me, in my experience, under anger is some kind of hurt. And I completely agree with you, AJ. When I look at the inadequate column, that is what's under my anger most of the time. Those things there, and those things can be addressed. That can be handled. A lot of that can be healed and redeemed and restored. And then you untangle the anger. You don't address at the level of the anger. Go underneath the anger, because that's where real, deep, true, and sustainable transformation is going to happen.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this and you're angry, we want you to know you're not broken any more than we are. And you're definitely not alone. We're in this with you. Okay. And I want to just emphasize, this isn't about fixing something today. You don't have to go change your whole life. That's not what this is about. It's just to start to notice there's more going on below the surface and what you're actually feeling, and just start to connect with that, because when you do, you get more clarity about what's really going on. And maybe you're not as angry as you thought you were. So step outside. This doesn't have to be complicated. I'm not saying an exercise routine or anything, although I love to go running and that blows all these anger chemicals off or whatever they are, but you just take a little walk or just sit outside, watch a sunset, let the dust settle, let your soul just breathe for a minute. And when things start getting a little quiet, you'll get to notice what's underneath. And for help to put words to what you're feeling, we link the same feeling sheet that helped me. So grab that. Sometimes one word on that page can open a door, unlock something you didn't even know was there. So thanks for listening. We hope this helped you feel a little less alone.